I used to follow sort of Smile a lot, you know. I used to see, I mean, we were like friends. I used to go to their shows.
Freddie was waiting in the wings, literally, and advising us on what to do.
And he would always say, you know, you guys are brilliant, 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 it's amazing, but, you know, you should do this and you should do this.
What did you see in what Brian and Rog were doing with Smile?
Nothing.
I think he sort of had in the back of his mind maybe, you know, some idea about maybe working with us.
Freddie told everybody that he was going to be a pop star, and we didn't take it that seriously, really. And he was sitting over there one night, and I walked in the pub, and he just put his head in his hands like this and looking really depressed. And I walked over and said, what's the matter with you? I said, I'm not going to be a pop star. And very slowly, he stood up and he said, I'm going to be a legend.
Although we'd had a lot of successful gigs and we played colleges and we played pubs and small clubs up and down the country, we just never got anywhere.
Smile made a single which did nothing at all. And then Tim, our singer, got an offer from someone else, and the someone else was called Humpy Bong.
So Tim sodded off to that.
And Freddie sort of got us. He said, come on, you can't give up. I want to sing.
So we decided we'd, you know, take the plunge. And it was then I sort of thought about the name Queen.
Why Queen?
I don't know, at the time it was outrageous.
So here we have the main hall. In 1973, this is where Queen played, and this is really the first proper advertised gig we ever did, I would think. And it's certainly the first review we ever got by Rosemary Horide of what was then Disc.
From the very beginning, Freddie was absolutely remarkable for stagecraft. He had a presence unlike anything that I'd ever seen, and I'd been a music journalist for a long time.
Freddie, even from those days, had an ability to work an audience, and they would eat out of his hand.
He could actually turn his hand round like that and do that, and the audience would stand up.
I have sinned, dear Father, Father, I have sinned. Try and help me, Father, won't you let me in?
I think the first moment when I thought, my God, something's really happening here. People actually want to see us, and they know what we're about.
When they came along, there had been a denim rock movement, if you like, with Status Quo, Uriah Heep. I just think Queen were an incredible breath of fresh air in rock music. They had brilliant songs. Freddie Mercury was an absolutely charismatic frontman. Brian May was just this brilliant guitarist, and Roger Taylor was a phenomenal drummer, and you had that guy that played bass.
We spent a couple of years looking for a bass player. We had several bass players. Very hard to find the right guy. And we found John.
Deacon John on bass.
So I came along in a way as a bit of an outsider at first. And it did take me quite a few years to sort of grow more into the group, you know, and find myself, at home, really.
Before we signed to a record label, we actually signed to Trident Productions, a management company run by the Sheffield brothers, who had their own studio right in the middle of Soho.
Recording our first album, we were all still just students finishing off our degrees.
We had to do it in what time was available because, the studio was being booked up all the time. So we had to go in, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning and sometimes, finishing at 6 in the morning. All those sorts of weird times that nobody wanted.
You could see the working girls at night through their lace curtains. So when we were mixing, we'd have a little bit of diversion. The album came out and sort of resoundingly crashed. Well, it really didn't do much.
Well, it's funny when you make your first album, you go out into the record shops and you think, we're in the record stores now, and you go in and say, have you got the new Queen album then? And they go, what? And it's a long haul.